Words cannot describe the disdain I have for this team as we get swept against the Colorado Rockies, who were last year one of the worst teams in baseball, because that's just the way and the trend of where the New York Mets are going. My thoughts and more right after the intro.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York Town.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Bleed Orange and Blue podcast. My name is TJ Labby. It's a loner episode for me today, as I meant to record this yesterday, but apparently my body thought otherwise, because I was really tired and apparently didn't seem to want to record yesterday. I gotta figure that situation out, because it could be something. I wouldn't say it's something serious, but I gotta figure that out because I've been falling asleep and sleeping very much too late. But yeah, the New York Mets, they fall or get swept, I should say, against the Colorado Rockies. Now on a 3-game losing streak after breaking out of a 12-game losing streak, winning 2 against Minnesota, and then going on a 3-game losing streak against Colorado, because that's just the downward trend of where we are. But first, before we get into that, I'd like to mention the hats. It's one of my newer hats, has my girlfriend's name on it. She gave it to me for I believe it was a birthday gift. So because you usually see the black hat, which with the white piping, which they should bring back. My personal opinion, bring back the black jerseys with the white piping. A gray hat that I own, and two military hats that I have. I also have a 2015 postseason hat, which is, believe it or not, almost older than I am, or not, no, almost older than I am, but it's a sentimental value type of hat for me. But anyways, let's crack into the recap. First game 1, the Mets would lose by a score of 4-3. Michael Lorenzen would get the win. He would improve to 2-2 with a 5.97 ERA. Freddie Peralta getting the loss. He would go down to 1-3 with a 3.90 ERA. And Antonio Senzatella gets the save for the Rockies, his second of the season, as he improves on a very strong season so far with an 0.50 ERA. The final line of this game, the Colorado Rockies 4 runs on 10 hits and an error. The Mets had 3 runs on 11 hits and no errors. Let's take a look at the pitching stat lines. Freddie Peralta had the start in this game. He went 5 2/3, gave up 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. Another case of him not being able to get past the 6th inning yet again. Sean Manaea came in for 3 1/3, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, which is fairly decent for Sean Manaea considering how awful he has been. The hitting, Bo Bichette, he went 1 for 4 with a run scored. Soto, 1 for 4. Francisco Alvarez, 1 for 4 with a strikeout. Tommy Pham pinch ran for him, didn't have a recorded at bat. Neither did Luis Torrens. Brett Beatty went 2 for 4 with a run and 2 RBIs. Mark Vientos, 2 for 4 with a strikeout. Marcus Semien, 0 for 4. Carson Bench, 1 for 4. Tyrone Taylor, 1 for 3 with a strikeout. MJ Melendez, who pinch hit for him, went 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And then Ronnie Mauricio went 2 for 3 with a run scored. The Mets would strike out 4 times in this game, which is shocking, I know, considering you think they would have struck out a lot more, considering the abysmal display that they put on the field. Brett Beatty got 2 RBIs in this game. We will get to that. The Mets went 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position and left 5 runners on base. It all started, believe it or not, with a double play, of which Marcus Semien is very good at, as he would ground into a double play that would score. That would score Brett Beatty from third, make it 1-0 Mets early in the bottom of the second. Then in the top of the fifth, TJ Rumfield would ground out to score Brenton Doyle. They would tie the game at 1. Then Jake McCarthy with an RBI double made it 2-1 Colorado. And then Troy Johnston with a 2-run RBI single made it 4-1 Colorado. And then Brett Beatty with a 2-run RBI single in the bottom of the 8th made it 4-3. This was the prime scoring chance for the Mets, as they had, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, bases loaded. They did. Bases loaded, 1 out, which is going to be a theme this series, trust me. As Brett Beatty would get the big run, 2 runs in to make it 4-3, and then Vientos would line into an unassisted double play to end that inning and basically end the hopes of what the Mets had left in this game. It was not pretty, but then we move on to the next day, because this was the Friday game. It was supposed to be the Saturday game. The Saturday game got rained out. So what do you know? As Willie Mays likes to say, let's play 2. So it was a doubleheader. Game 1, the Mets would lose 3-1. Jose Quintana, who is apparently now a thorn in the Mets side, gets the win. He would go to 1-2, or he improves to 1-2 with a 4.91 ERA. Nolan McLean was fantastic, but unfortunately he was stuck with the loss, as he claimed 1-2, 2.55 ERA. Victor Vodnik would get the save for the Rockies, his 4th of the season, and improve to a 6.94 ERA, which I don't think is much improving, but it's here nor there. The Rockies with 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors. The Mets 1 run on 4 hits and an error. The pitching in this game, Nolan McLean did good, but the only problem is he could not get past the 6th inning, as he would pitch 5 innings, give up 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. And he would also record his 100th strikeout. Congratulations to Lightning McLean on the accomplishment. Huascar Braziban, he would pitch 2 innings, giving up an earned run, a walk, and had a strikeout, giving up 2 hits as well. And then Austin Warren would pitch for 2 innings, and he had a strikeout. Then as for the hitting, you want to talk about abysmal. Bo Bichette, 1 for 3 with a walk. Juan Soto, 0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. Luis Robert Jr., 0 for 3 with a walk. Mark Vientos, 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Marcus Semien, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Brett Beatty, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Tyrone Taylor, 1 for 3 with a run and an RBI. MJ Melendez, pinch hit for him. He went 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Tommy Pham, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Carson Bench, pinch hitting, went 0 for 1. Luis Torrens went 0 for 2. And then Francisco Alvarez, pinch hitting for Torrens, went 1 for 1. The Mets would strike out 10 times in this game. Go 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position, and leave 6 runners left on base. So you know how I said bases loaded, 1 out in game 1, right? Well, that was mostly the theme in this game 1 of this doubleheader, as it would happen not once, but twice for the Mets. They had bases loaded with 1 out in the bottom of the 1st, and failed to succeed as Semien struck out and Brett Beatty struck out after the Rockies decided to challenge with ABS and win their challenge. And then the scoring. So the scoring began, Troy Johnston with an RBI single made it 1-0 in the top of the 4th. So 1-0 Colorado. Then Tyrone Taylor with a solo home run made it 1-1 in the bottom of the 5th. So at least it was tied. And then the Rockies scored again with bases loaded as Troy Johnston grounded into a double play, made it 2-1 Colorado, which at least limited the damage. And then Jake McCarthy with an RBI single made it 3-1 Colorado. And then here we are again, the bottom of the eighth. The Mets had bases loaded with one out and proceeded to do, that's right, folks, nothing. As Luis Robert Jr. popped out to the first baseman, and then Vientos struck out swinging at a slider outside the zone because that's what he so loves to do, as the Mets would lose this series. Oh, this will be the series clincher for Colorado. But can they get back at them in game 3? If you all thought that, then you're as stupid as you look. Rockies win 3-0. Chase Delander gets the win. He improves to 3-2 with a 2.25 ERA. He's actually been having a way better season than he had last year. Kodai Senga, who needs to be out of the league, is 0 for 4 with a 9.00 ERA. Because, of course, Zach Agnos, he would get the save. His second of the season improved to a 5.71 ERA. In this game, the pitching, forget about it. Kodai Senga, he went 2 2/3, gave up 3 earned runs, 3 walks, a strikeout, and a home run on 3 hits. Carl Edwards Jr., in his first outing in relief for the Mets, went 3 1/3, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. He had a good outing. Luke Weaver, 1 inning, only giving up a hit. Brooks Raley, 1 inning, only giving up a strikeout. And then Devin Williams, shocker, but I know, had a 1-2-3 inning as he went an inning and had 2 strikeouts. The Mets hitting, abysmal yet again. Bichette, 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Juan Soto, 1 for 2 with 2 walks and a strikeout. Francisco Alvarez, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Brett Beatty, 0 for 3 with a walk. MJ Melendez, 1 for 4 with a strikeout. Marcus Semien, 1 for 4 and a strikeout. Carson Benz, 2 for 4. Ronnie Mauricio, 1 for 3 with a strikeout. And Tyrone Taylor went 0 for 3. The Mets would strike out 7 times in this game, and they would go 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position and leave 7 runners left on base. The scoring, pretty much straightforward. Troy Johnston, an RBI single, made it 1-0 Colorado, and then Hunter Goodman with a 2-run homer in the top of the third made it 3-0 Colorado. And that was all she wrote, because Chase Delander went 7 innings plus in this game with over 105 pitches thrown and just dominated the Mets offense all game long, as did Colorado this entire series, as the Mets would only score, count them, 4 runs in the span of this series, and they would only score 1 run in the span of 18 innings in yesterday's doubleheader. So if you want to talk pathetic, you come to the right place. But some notable moves that did happen throughout the weekend: they DFA'd Tommy Pham. He is no longer a Met, but they signed someone by the name of Austin Slater. He was DFA'd by the Marlins, so the Mets decided to pick him up because that's what the Mets like to do, going after someone that failed in another organization and then bring him here. They also picked up Eric Wagaman, who is going to be optioned to AAA. So yeah, those are the new moves that are coming here. If you asked me, like, what's the main issue about this entire team, you're gonna need several explanations on that, because the offense can't hit. The pitching is good, but sometimes, I mean, McLean's great. McLean is one of those guys who is really good. He's just got to figure out how to get past the 6th inning. Freddie Peralta needs to figure out how to stop getting himself into trouble and actually learning how to maybe get past the 6th inning without throwing over 100 pitches. Clay Holmes has been great. Clay Holmes has honestly been one of our best pitchers on this squad. The rotation is the rotation, and the rotation's fine, other than maybe Kodai Senga and David Peterson. The offense sucks. They can't hit for crap. It's cases of you're moving guys around this way and that way, and they can't seem to find any sort of consistency at all. And it's tough to really say if this team really even has a shot. According to something that I read. The Mets would have to go, get this ready, 81 and they would have to go 81 and 53 in the next however many games they have left, which is, correct me if I'm wrong. So today would be game 29. Yeah, quick math, I can't figure that out off the top of my head. So excuse me for that. But yeah, it's not been a pretty stretch for the Mets at all, and I don't really know where it stops or where it ends. And yeah, it's just difficult. It's just difficult to consider any positive outcome of where this team is going. It's difficult to find any sort of joy going to any Mets games. I mean, tonight's game, you can go in for $8. That's how bad it is, man. I mean, there's going to be at some point, once the summer hits, if the team keeps playing like this, then staff members, hell, the team itself is going to say, here's tickets for free. There's going to be free tickets at this point because that's how bad this team is, and they can't seem to figure anything else to save their lives. If you ask me, I think Kodai Senga's time in the major league should be done. I don't understand why he's still a major league pitcher. I wouldn't even throw him in the bullpen. He would probably suck in the bullpen too. It doesn't make any sense for him to even be on the major league roster anymore. I just say would get rid of him at this point. On the topic of Carlos Mendoza, I think unfortunately he's overstayed his welcome, but we all know they ain't gonna fire him because that's usually what this team likes to do, is keep a manager here for too long. No disrespect to Mendy. It's not his fault. It's the player's fault. It's the owner's fault. It's the general manager's fault because this team is poorly constructed with so many guys that can't play their position, with so many guys that are so streaky at the plate that it's not even funny, and with so many guys that really cannot perform at all. Simeon shouldn't be here. If you ask me, Luis Robert Jr. shouldn't be here. It's the worst team money can buy redux. That's basically what this team is. But considering I like pain, let's talk about tonight's game as they start a 3-game series against their arch rival Washington Nationals, whom are also probably going to be a thorn in their side now that I think about it. So let's preview tonight's game. No lineups out yet because this game is on at 7:10, so no lineups out yet, but we have our pitching matchup. The Nationals are third in the National League East. They are 13-16, facing the Mets, who are 9-19 and are in dead last in the NL East and tied for the worst record in Major League Baseball. Tonight's pitching matchup: Zach Littell takes the hill for the Washington Nationals. He is 0-3 with a 7.56 ERA, taking on Clay Holmes, whom I said is basically one of the best pitchers on this pitching staff. He is 2-2 with a 2.10 ERA. Tonight's game is on SMY, of course, so you have Gary Keith and Ron on the call. 7:10 is the start time. And considering I see Littell has a 7.56 ERA, you can probably bet your bottom dollar that he is going 6 or 7 plus, with only giving up maybe an earned run or two, because this team can't seem to hit anybody with an above 5 or more ERA. So that is tonight's pitching matchup between the Mets and the Nationals. Any other thoughts I have is, for the love of God, win a game, because I can't suffer another 12-game losing streak. I mean, you got to figure something out at some point. even though we're 10 games below 500, have one of the worst teams in baseball, and can't seem to figure out anything to save our lives, you still got to play the games. You still got to try and figure it out. But I mean, if we keep this going until mid-April, or excuse me, not mid-April because it's the end of April, mid-May and forward, then bro, just forget about it at this point. But anyways, those are my thoughts. This was the series recap between the Mets and Rockies. Thank you all for listening, or actually, thank you all for watching this episode of the Bleed Orange and Blue podcast. Make sure that you subscribe and hit notifications so you never miss an upload. And as for this episode, you can put it in the books.